trash day?
Sometimes the smallest responsibilities leave the biggest impact. A clean home, a peaceful neighborhood, a beautiful environment all begin with simple habits repeated week after week. Jennifer understood this better than most people. She always enjoyed keeping her home and her yard clean and organized. To her, cleanliness was more than appearance. It was a way of showing respect for her home, her neighbors, and the world around her. She believed that when everyone did their small part, life became more pleasant for everyone. The streets stayed beautiful, the neighborhood felt welcoming, and every family could enjoy a cleaner place to live. Among all her weekly responsibilities, there was one she never forgot. Every Monday, without fail, Jennifer followed the very same routine. She pulled the trash can out to the street. It was a large trash can with strong wheels that made it easier to move. Sometimes it felt a little heavy, especially after a busy week, but Jennifer never complained. She placed both hands firmly on the handle and slowly rolled it across the driveway. The wheels made a soft rumbling sound as they crossed the sidewalk. Carefully, she guided the trash can to the edge of the street. She made sure it stood upright, neat, steady, and facing the correct direction so the garbage truck could easily reach it. For Jennifer, doing a small job the right way was always worth the extra care. As the quiet neighborhood continued to wake up, Jennifer realized she wasn't the only one beginning this familiar Monday routine.
It was Monday morning. The air was cool and refreshing. The neighborhood was slowly waking up to begin another new week. Golden sunlight spread gently across the quiet street. The trees swayed softly in the morning breeze, and cheerful birds filled the air with their beautiful songs. One by one, Jennifer's neighbors stepped outside, rolling their own trash cans toward the curb. Some smiled, some waved. Everyone seemed to know exactly what day it was. As Jennifer continued rolling her trash can, a friendly neighbor looked her way and smiled. "Good morning, Jennifer." Jennifer smiled back with the same warmth. "Good morning. It's trash day again." Her neighbor laughed softly. "It sure is." With another friendly wave, the neighbor returned home. Jennifer paused for just a moment and looked down the street. Nearly every house had a trash can standing neatly by the curb. It wasn't just a routine. It was part of the neighborhood's way of working together. Everyone knew that Monday was trash day. Everyone prepared their trash before the truck arrived. Jennifer appreciated having a schedule. It helped her stay organized. Throughout the week, she placed the household waste inside the trash can. Then, every Monday morning, she made sure everything was ready for collection. Simple routines like this one kept trash from piling up. They helped the neighborhood stay clean, beautiful, and welcoming for everyone who lived there. Jennifer smiled quietly. Sometimes the smallest routines were also the most important ones. Just then, a deep sound began to echo through the quiet street. The garbage truck was finally on its way.
Slowly, the deep sound of a powerful engine grew louder. Jennifer knew exactly what it was. The garbage truck had arrived. It moved slowly from one house to the next, stopping for only a few moments before continuing its journey through the neighborhood. Jennifer stood by the window, watching carefully. Even though she had seen the truck many times before, she never grew tired of watching how smoothly it worked. Every movement seemed carefully planned. Every stop was quick, precise, and efficient. One feature always caught Jennifer's attention. The truck had a strong metal arm. It rested quietly along the side of the vehicle. Powerful, yet controlled. Simple, yet incredibly smart. Jennifer admired the way it could do such difficult work
without anyone leaving the truck. Then the moment arrived. The metal arm slowly reached toward the trash can. It moved carefully, wrapping itself securely around both sides of the container. Not too fast, not too slow. Every movement was smooth, steady, and perfectly controlled. Jennifer watched with quiet amazement. It was incredible how a machine could perform such careful work with such precision. For a moment, everything else seemed to disappear. Her eyes followed every movement as the powerful arm prepared for its next task. Then, with surprising ease, the heavy trash can began to rise high into the air.
With effortless strength, the powerful metal arm lifted the heavy trash can high into the air. For just a moment, it almost seemed to float above the truck. Jennifer always believed this was the most fascinating part of the process. Something that looked so heavy was lifted as if it weighed almost nothing at all. The powerful machine moved with remarkable ease, steady, accurate, and completely under control. Then, the trash can slowly turned upside down. Everything inside began to fall into the large container inside the truck. Jennifer listened to the familiar sound of the trash dropping safely into place. When it seemed that everything had been emptied, the mechanical arm gave the trash can a few gentle shakes, just enough to make sure nothing was left behind. Only a few seconds had passed, yet another home was completely finished. The job was quick, clean, and efficient. Then, with the very same care, the metal arm slowly lowered the empty trash can back towards the ground. Its wheels gently touched the street once again. The arm released its grip and quietly folded itself back against the side of the truck. Without wasting a single moment, the truck moved forward towards the next house. One family after another, one street after another, helping keep the entire neighborhood clean. Jennifer smiled. Sometimes the most ordinary jobs were also the most important. By the time Monday afternoon arrived, the neighborhood had become peaceful once again, and Jennifer had one last small responsibility to complete. By Monday afternoon, the neighborhood had become quiet once again. The garbage truck had finished its work and continued on its journey. Warm sunlight filled the street. A gentle breeze whispered through the trees. Jennifer walked outside toward the curb, already knowing what she would find. She lifted the lid of the trash can and looked inside. Just as she expected, it was completely empty. She smiled. Everything had gone exactly as planned. An empty trash can meant a fresh start for another week. Once again, Jennifer held the handle firmly and carefully rolled the trash can back across the sidewalk and up the driveway. The wheels moved smoothly, returning to their familiar place beside the house. She gently closed the lid and looked around her yard. Everything was neat. Everything was organized. Everything felt exactly where it belonged. For Jennifer, putting things back in their place was just as important as taking them out, because small habits create lasting order. As she walked back inside, she knew this wasn't the end of the routine. Next Monday, she would do the very same thing again. And she was perfectly happy to do it. Just like watering the plants, cleaning the house, or doing the laundry, taking out the trash was one more simple responsibility that helped protect her home, her neighborhood, and the environment they all shared. Jennifer understood
that life is often built one small habit at a time. And every time she completed one of those habits, she made the world around her just a little cleaner, a little brighter, and a little better. Sometimes the greatest changes don't begin with extraordinary actions. Sometimes they begin on an ordinary Monday morning, with one simple choice: to do the right thing. Thank you for listening, and remember, small responsibilities repeated with care help create a cleaner world for everyone. End of story.